Here's Gump Report. Now, I'm considering, this is the last video I've filmed. I've actually filmed 4 other videos already that were Gump goodness. I was considering the very first video to be the one I'm going to release. I might reverse that. Do this as the first, go backwards. Because I think maybe this should be done while things are still fresh in many people's mind. Let's make it very clear about Terry Bollea. The Hulk Hogan. Let's make it very clear. He's so controversial at this point. Whether you like him or not, the controversy is always going to be a major issue. There's people who love him because of what ideals he gave. There's people, and being half black, I understand them, that they're so fucking pissed off at him for what he said about Brooke Hogan, and I believe it was her fiance or her boyfriend at the time, being racist, calling the nigger words. I know I just said the word, but the N-word and some really, really nasty stuff on top of it. There's always going to be that. But as I've always tried to say, you guys who are fans, you're going to have your own emotions. But as someone like myself, and there are others like JD, there's Alex and some other people who are trying to explain things to you or trying to report. And understand, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. I'm just some guy with a camera who tries to at least give some factual news that's entertaining or just his point of view. I want to be at least objective as possible to make sure I can separate what Terry Bollea was and Hulk Hogan was. The ideals of what Hulk Hogan projected, which affected millions of people. This is what you don't want to hear or don't understand. He changed people's lives, whether you like it or not. And then you have the other guy, who's the same one, who was not perfect, who said racist comments, who had the sex scandal, who basically probably ended his own life when he was told, stop. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. But the people that was on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, it was Piers himself, but he also had Vince Russo, the writer for WCW and WWF. He had the agent, Prince. I believe that's his name, Drake Prince. I could be wrong about the first name, but Prince is his last name. And then you got Bobby Love Sponge, who supposedly is a very old friend at one point to Hulk himself, but due to the sex scandal with his wife that he let, I'm sorry for language, I've already cursed a lot in the other videos, he let his wife, who was in an open relationship with him, fuck a Hulk Hogan, and someone managed to get that recording because it was recorded, and then tried to blackmail them. And understand, and I want to make this clear, whether you think he is 100% a bad guy, and this is still Hulk Hogan, he didn't know he was recorded. When it came to Bobby Love Sponge, him and his wife had an open relationship, as he said, and you'll hear him say it in Piers Morgan Uncensored. He pretty much said they were in an open relationship right now, and that was the time he was talking about. Hulk was really down, he was taking drugs, and he was trying to be there for him because at this time, his first marriage went to crap, and he suggested, hey, bang my wife and make you feel better. And he did bang his wife. They got recorded, and then it was leaked. They went to court, and Hulk Hogan won roughly about maybe $40 or $50 million because of that case. I want to make this very clear. And I want to make this really clear how Vince Russo talked when Prince talked, and with Love Sponge. That is a name, man. Do I believe they told the whole story? Hell no. They only had 30 minutes. And Piers Morgan did not bring up the racist comments at all. I'm making it very clear. He was basically not painting Hulk Hogan as a great man. He did talk about interviewing him a couple of times and how well-mannered he was and could talk. So he's going by that. Didn't want to bring up the controversy of the racist comments, which a lot of people I know for a fact are going to say, dude, this is bullshit. He should have brought it up. I don't tell him what to do. You don't tell him what to do. But since this wound is so big, this is what I want to make very clear. All three of these guys did not say all the shit that Hulk Hogan did. We know there was a huge amount of politicking in the back in WWF, at one point WWE, and TNA. There was politicking. We know it. We understand about the racist comments. We understand how he was doing what he was doing drugs, and his back surgeries. We know this. There's no way to deny it. But I want to make this very clear. Right now, people are heartbroken to his death. And I'm not talking about wrestlers. I'm not talking about the people who worked in wrestling. This is about fans who know all this and still love the fucking man. Let's make it clear. And I know I've been cursing. I'm so sorry. But I want to make this very clear from a perspective of a guy who was born in the 70s, who grew up in the 80s, who saw WrestleMania 1, who saw him before WrestleMania 1, who won the title from Iron Sheik. I did see it. I saw WrestleMania 3 when he body slammed Andre the Giant. I saw WrestleMania when he was working with Macho Man Randy Savage and when he was working with the Ultimate Warrior and put him over. And when it came to Brock Lesnar and letting Brock Lesnar bear hug him and having a blood pack in his mouth and making it look good before he ended his run in WWE and went to, away from WWE, was away a little bit, and then went to TNA. I've seen all the way up until that point. And yes, you're going to say, didn't you say you missed wrestling for 10 years? Yes, I did. So I can't say anything about the NWO. I can't say anything about Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I can't say anything about the Clique because I didn't see it. But I'm going by the parts I could see. And by 2002, going a little bit forward after that, I did manage to see Hulk Hogan, what he did. I'm not going to tell you that he didn't do incredible work for the business. He did. And people love him for it. It does, and I want to make this clear. There's some people who are going to say, I don't care what people say. He wasn't a good guy. No one's saying that he was a good guy. You don't get it. This is not about everyone saying he's a good guy. We know he's not a good guy. But it's not the point of what his personality was when he was Terry Bollea, when he was alone in his apartment or his house or his car or his boat. This is Hulk Hogan we're talking about. Where the majority of the time, understand, the guy's 71 when he died. He was a wrestler for 40 years. When he first started in his early 30s, he was just Terry Bollea. But the moment that the persona was created and he was over like fucking Stink, where you were not alive, I am 54 years old. Many of you were not even alive at that time. When you were there in the 70s and early 80s when he became extremely popular, everything you know today did not exist. Social media like it is today didn't exist back then. You had cable TV. There was no emails until 1988. The internet was just text-based at that time. Everything was done with letters or telephones, which didn't have cell phones. You were very lucky if you got that. That means you were rich at the time when you had wireless cell network, which was having something as big as, you see this? Some phones, if you cut it, it was like this in your face in the 70s and early 80s. That's how big they were. You need to understand the concept of how he motivated not just one generation, but 2 generations of people. And I'm not just talking about Americans. He was seen in Europe, he was seen in Asia, he was seen in Africa. He is known by the Saudi damn prince. You need to understand how broad the ideals he projected to people had reached almost every corner of the planet. This is not about if he's a good guy to black people in America. This is what a lot of black Americans don't get. And I want to make this clear, I'm half black. My mother was born in 1929. She was from the lost generation. I know it better than anybody how black Americans act and how badly they were treated, what they went through. I may be light-skinned, but understand it. But you do not get it as a black person. You're just focused on the racist comments. I'm not going against what you said. I know what they are. But as someone who do make these videos, I can objectively understand what he said as a private citizen is different compared to the persona he did when he was wrestling. That was meant for anyone. But when he hadn't been wrestling, and he was by himself, and he was doing drugs, and I'm not condoning because he did drugs. I know what it's like when someone does drugs. I had a half-brother who did heroin most of his life, which killed him next to AIDS. So I know when you do stuff like that, you don't give two damn fucks how and what you say. You just don't. I'm not telling you I'm condoning it. I'm just saying that's how you act. That is how you act. But what he gave to every person on the damn planet is an ideal. Think of Martin Luther King. And I know you're going to say, dude, you cannot compare. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can compare the persona that he projected to fans around the world to what Martin Luther King did. Remember, Martin Luther King and even Malcolm X had a dream that black people, me being half black, that would include me. Even people say, no, you ain't black. I am half black. My mother always said, as long as you got one drop of black blood in you, will always be black, no matter what anybody says. But Martin Luther King made it very clear. We deserve equality. We deserve to be treated the same. We deserve to walk down the damn street, get how you doing, and get a damn job, work just like anybody else. And if we screw up and get arrested, we want to be treated the same if a white man was arrested, if we're a black man. That is what Martin Luther King made very clear. What did Hulk Hogan say? Train, take your vitamins, and pray to God. And you, if you work hard enough, can do anything you want. Believe in yourself. Not just believe in America and give me the almighty dollar. That's not what he was projecting to adults and children and teenagers. This affected men, it affected women, it affected black, white, Spanish, Asian, it doesn't make a difference. That projected just like Martin Luther King did. And if you say, fuck you, you're doing that, oh yeah? Then go ask someone on the other opposite side of the planet who is either 20, 30, or 40 years old, right? Who's maybe 30 or 40 years old, or 50 for that matter. Do they know about Hulk Hogan and what he said about caring about yourself? Exercise. Take some type of vitamin to make yourself healthy. And then pray to God, because that is what you should do. You should work hard to be a good person, to try and make yourself better. Go find out on the other opposite damn side of the planet and ask their ass whether they're black, white, or Spanish. And I bet you out of 100 people, maybe a third to half of them are going to know about it. So it doesn't make a difference how much you don't like what I said. It's the damn truth. And let's make this very clear. Did Vince Russo tell the truth to a certain extent? Of course he did. But he didn't say what happened about the comments about racism. They didn't cover it. He didn't bring it up. When it came to Pierce talking to Prince about this, about his best friend that he knew he lived around, he understood. And he said, I knew him for so long. He was the reason why I stopped drinking. 17 years ago, I've been clean for 17 years, and it's been him. He said that. And then when it came to Bubba Love, I can't believe the guy, it's so funny. Bubba Love Sponge, he made it very clear he was trying to help his friend. He did a stupid thing, and he got caught up. And understand, the way I understand when it came to this situation where the sex tape came out, Love Sponge was, at the time, after he'd done some wrestling and worked in the wrestling business, he became a radio personality. And he was up against somebody else who managed to record what was going on and tried to use that against Hulk to get to Love Sponge, which happened. Now, I might have said Love Sponge was involved with the video. He wasn't. I'm sorry. Just in case you're thinking I said that. No, I made a mistake if I did say it. Love Sponge lined his wife, who was in an open relationship with him, with Hulk, and they were recorded by a rival radio personality who tried to flat out use Hulk Hogan to get Love Sponge off the air. And guess what? After Hulk won the case and got over, $50 million, I believe, because I think Love Sponge said that. He still got fired. So that other person got what they wanted even though they lost the case. But he made it very clear that is what happened. And he lost his best friend. And at that time, when the video had came out, is when he got married to another woman, because he wasn't longer married with his first wife. He was with his second wife. He just recently got married with her. And that relationship broke up because of the leaked video that happened. And legitimately, it was like, shit, I lost my best friend. That's what he said. And he made it very clear he wished that had not happened. He wished he could tell him, please, you know I didn't do that. I didn't record you. That was the rival guy or company that I was dealing with when I was a radio personality. I'm sorry. He wished that he could have told him. He did tell the wife that they broke up with him and Hulk. He did tell her, I'm sorry, and she accepted the apology, but that was essentially all that he could do. But even he, along with Prince, did not bring up the race allegations, or basically what was said. I'm not going to tell you that Piers Morgan Uncensored didn't do his job completely, because he did part of it. Every person is going to have a different style. I'm not going to tell you that he did that on purpose or not. Maybe he did. He just didn't want to bring the race allegation, which he would normally do that. I mean, normally he would bring up whatever it needs to, but in this situation, I guess he chose not to because of how controversial the situation is right now. Let's make it very clear. A lot of people are heartbroken he's dead that are wrestling fans of my age or maybe just a little younger. JD didn't feel right about it, but he still loved Hulk Hogan. Alex, he understands what Hulk Hogan is, but he lost all interest in Hulk Hogan because of the race allegation, racial words and everything. And there are other people who are just flat out happy he's dead. And they're cheering for his death. And they're angry that people are praising him because of his racist comments. What do I think should happen here? Nothing. Everyone is going to have their own opinion. I know flat out there's going to be people saying, dude, no matter what you say, he still wasn't a good guy. And I told you already in the previous video, I'm going to say it right now. That is on you to decide if you want to hate him or not hate him. You got to find in your own heart to, if you're a Christian, forgive him or not. You don't have to. And I take the same stance as the Sleg Daddy because he did a video on this. Off the Rope Show Central. He made it very clear. Everyone has the right to feel the way they do. You do. You have the right to be hateful of him. I'm hoping you're not that hateful that you're glad he's dead, because that shows you're very angry about anything. And that's not good for you. But in this situation, wanting others to hate him is not the goal here. You can't make other people want what you want. And if you're telling me I should hate him, I'm not going to hate him. But I'm not going to love him either. Look, I've already stated this. I can separate what the guy did compared to the work he did when he was a pro wrestler. I've done that. I don't like him, but I don't dislike him. I'm in the middle. Because I can see what he has done when he was a private citizen, when he wasn't a pro wrestler, and when he was a pro wrestler. I'm not going to tell you, just love him and shut the fuck up. I'm not. But I'm not going to tell you, hate his fucking guts because he's a fucking black hater, racist, or a black supremacist, like some people thought he was. I'm not going to tell you that either, because that's not 100% truth. The truth is that he is not perfect. He said racist comments. He took drugs. He basically screwed up his second marriage because of a video that he didn't take, and his best friend who let his wife, who was in an open relationship, screw him. That is what happened there. But you can't say that he didn't affect and give a great amount of things to people who are doing good things today. There are people out there who may not care about wrestling anymore, but learn something from what he said. There is something they say that the true legacy of a person is not about how powerful they were, how rich they were, how famous they were. Their true legacy is how they affect you and how do you live your life beyond their death. And that's where we're at right now. There are huge amounts of people who have been affected by Hulk Hogan that have made their lives better, maybe some worse, but generally better because of the ideals that he believed that needed to be projected as Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea played Hulk Hogan and did that. It's just like William Shatner, who played Captain James T. Kirk. People became scientists because of what Star Trek represented. Black men and women looked at Uhura, who is not a perfect. Nichelle Nichols, let's make it very clear, was an inspiration to black men and women, where you know that when it came to Martin Luther King, he told her when she was about to quit Star Trek, he told her, do not quit. We need to show there are black people in space, that they're no different than white, that we're all the same people. Nichelle decided to keep acting as a Lieutenant Uhura. But she wasn't a perfect woman either. In some cases, she used to do drugs, from what I understand, and she was not always 100% nice to everyone. I'm not saying that she wasn't, but she wasn't perfect. And during her declining years, she went demented, and then she passed away. But not one person that we ever know has been 100% pure. Not one. They always have some type of controversy, some type of problem. Look at Martin Luther King. At one point, we heard that he possibly was cheating on his wife. I'm not saying he did, but that was some of the allegations. You're going to say, well, that's what white people say. But you never know. You never know what was going on behind the scenes with his wife. We don't know what happened. Unless she wants to be 100% truthful and got proof of it, we don't know. And all I'm saying is this. When it comes to Terry Bollea, comes to Hulk Hogan, you have the right to be angry at him for what he said and what he did. I'm not going to take that from you, and no one should take it from you. If you don't like him, you don't have to like him. And if you loved him because he gave you an ideal, he gave you something to latch onto that made your life better into the future, you have the right to hold on to that. And no one should tell you you shouldn't have that. The only thing I would recommend, you can talk to someone that's on the other side of it. But don't tell them you have no choice but to believe that he's nothing but a racist, or you have to believe that he's 100% a good guy. Because you shouldn't. You can listen to each other and tell each other what's going on, but then respect each other and say, okay, that's your point of view. I respect it, but this is my point of view as well. And leave it at that. Believe what you want to believe. But don't try to force someone to believe in what you believe. Because that's not right. It's just flat out wrong. And this is just me. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. I'm probably going to release this one first. You're going to probably see this one first. And then the videos that were originally going to be in this, they're going to be in reverse. So the next video you're going to see will be the one about Brooke Hogan and her not supposedly being invited to Raw SmackDown for the invitation. I mean, for the tribute, not invitation. And you're going to see them in reverse. So I hope you understand. The videos will be out of sequence. They'll be backwards. So I decided I'll release this one first. Peace.